Welcome to the Best Music Podcast, where we see behind the curtain and we discover hidden habits and success secrets of noteworthy music makers. I'm your host, Dan Spencer, and this week's featured guest is Tony Pulizzi. Now, Tony has been a leading guitarist in the Los Angeles area for over a decade now and enjoys a music career filled with versatility and experience. Within a year after relocating to LA, Tony became, get this, the house guitarist, which means he's playing guitar for everything, on the hit TV show American Idol. Now, he's gone on to play on Dancing with the Stars, The Voice, BET Awards, and other TV network award shows and movie soundtracks. Now, he's also performed and/or recorded with top artists such as Smokey Robinson, Robbie Dupree, Bobby Kimball, Natalie Cole, Tito Jackson, Mickey Thomas, George Benson, Bill Champlin, and Stevie Wonder, to name just a few. His new single with his band drops soon, and you can get links to the new song and see all the amazing things Tony's up to at tonypguitar.com. That's Tony, the letter P, guitar, Guitar.com. Tony, thank you so very much for taking time out of your busy schedule to come hang out with us.
Dan, thank you so much. It's an honor to be on this, and congrats to you on all your endeavors and everything that you're doing with the tutorials. It's awesome. Just the way you're learning and teaching people, it's great, and it takes a lot of talent to do that, and just a lot of fortitude to keep moving on in that thing. So congrats to you as well.
Tony, I've got to start by saying it's clear that it's not just your guitar playing that has made you a success so far in your career. You are an incredibly personable person, and you're very easy to talk to, and you're very kind, and you're very generous. You are a giver in conversation. What do you think about that has helped you in your music career?
I think when I came out to LA to work with people, or even in my formative years in Cleveland, I had to learn to listen. I had to learn, there's my earphone. I had to learn to listen to people because people are not going to be receptive of what you're talking about or what you're asking if you're not going to be interested in what they're saying. I remember when I was younger, I just went around and I was one-dimensional. I was just thinking about this and thinking about that. But the more that I was like, I need to listen to these people. I have to have a conversation. I have to develop a relationship. It's like the little things that we don't talk about or that we don't think about that hurts us the most. You know, how can we, get further in life or, to accomplish our goals if we can't work with each other? So, I took a back seat to think, okay, well, let me hear what people have to say. And the more I listened, and to me, it's difficult sometimes. I have to slow things down and something like that, but I made it work in my own way. And it's relationships that get you through to the next level or what you want to do in any endeavor in life. So I try to make that as a testament each day as I'm trying to move forward in my daily efforts. So
how has this mindset impacted the actual what's coming out of your fingers, what's coming out of your guitar? How has this mindset impacted that?
Oh, I guess that's a little bit different than I've been playing forever. I've been playing since I was 9 years old, and I just listened to a lot of music. I started off, I saw Peter Frampton, Frampton Comes Alive. I saw that. That's what I wanted to do. And my mother and father, they gave me a good education. They supported my music. I listened to a lot of Broadway music throughout the house. My mom had Fiddler on the Roof playing, or was it The Music Man, or Mary Poppins, whatever. And then I listened to Barry Manilow, the Bee Gees, and rock music. And then I went through high school. I got into my rock bands. We did that. And I also got involved in musical theater as well. So I do sing and play. And, I kept on playing and singing. And then I ended up going to college at Bowling Green State University. That's 20 miles south of Toledo, Ohio. And there was a jazz program starting up. Actually, that was at the time when MI out of Los Angeles, North Texas State University in Texas, and Berkeley College of Music. Many music people were graduating there. But that was that time there was only 3 major music schools you could go and get jazz or whatever, where they were trying to find the hottest players. But all these players were graduating, and they were starting all kinds of jazz programs all over the country because, jazz was getting a little bit more accepted in college. There was a person named Chris Bazzelli, and he started a guitar jazz. Well, it was a jazz program, but he ended up doing the guitar department, jazz, and that was in the tri-state area, so Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, and there was many people started to come in through it. But at the time I was there was a country guitar player, there was a hard bop guitar player, there was a classical guitar player, and I came from the world of rock and roll. So all 4 of us, we all fed off of each other. We helped out each other. And I got caught up into all of that. And it gave me a good background as far as reading, learning all styles. I tried to learn as much as I could with that. I remember one time, Mike Stern, you know who Mike Stern is, the great Mike Stern guitar player. He came and gave a seminar, and I just asked him, I say, hey man, how can you go back and forth with like rock and jazz and be legit and stuff? Because at that point in time I was playing rock in the summer, and then I was learning how to play jazz in the school, and I couldn't go back. It was just hard. The going back and forth with the styles were just drastic to me. And then he said to me, Tony, I just think of it as one is the same. And I'm like, so I always think that, but I think when you are going back and forth the styles at that particular age and learning things, it's just drastic. It just gets a little bit better as you get older. And then it's like, yeah, man, if you need a country thing, I can do it. You need a classical thing, I can do it. Jazz, rock, you need an Eddie Van Halen solo, whatever. So these are the tricks of the trade that help me to move on. And I could be a musician. I could play this. I could help someone on this project. I could play on a record that needed this. Just I dial up this sound with this pedal board. It's just a daily thing. It just all keeps coming at you. People keep asking this stuff, and just eventually it just becomes normal. That's what we do daily. Go ahead.
The reason I ask is because even some guitar players who are, well, not at the top of their field by virtue of what I'm about to say, but in the upper echelons of even things like the Broadway scene, have a reputation for overplaying and playing too much and not listening and turning everything into a rock jam session. And I'm wondering if it was, well, what was it about your experience that stopped that from being you?
I think that you have to serve the song. If you're in a Broadway pit, you better play what's on the page or you're out of there.
Yep.
What do you think this is? I get called in to do 8 weeks of The Lion King, and I'm doubling on classical, regular guitar, acoustic. I'm playing kalimba, like Maurice White of Earth, Wind and Fire, and all this stuff is spread out. You better play this stuff. Or ukulele too. I had to do that as well. So you play the show. You play what's written on there. And there's certain times where you're playing in the show, or there's like a solo here. You can be expansive in that, but you just can't go haywire. You can't do that. You got to play what it is. If you don't want to do that, then don't do this gig. If you're trying to get creative in this kind of thing, no, they want you to do this. You have your other own time, but you're called on to do a job. Let's do it. Let's make these people in the seats happy. And I can go into and saying that with Les Mis or Phantom of the Opera or Hamilton or any show that's out there. You play the show. That's how I see that. I've been through that and trying to overplay and stuff, but then it got to the point, it's like, no, I'm here to do this job. Let's do it.
Being in service as the highest thing to do, yes. So in being of service, I would love to understand how you are in service of these TV shows, because as a musician myself, I've always watched and sometimes see a couple people's heads poking out from behind somewhere, and you know there's a band playing. My gosh, usually the band is crazy tight, and like it's just boom, 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 boom. I'm assuming someone wanted to change keys 5 minutes before they went on because they had a sore throat, and they just walked in, and they're telling you 3 seconds before that goes on. And I'm sure you have some wild, wild stories, but share with us, what does your day look like when you show up for American Idol or The Voice? Like, do you have a whole bunch of charts waiting for you that you sit down and basically play through like a book? Are you having to learn stuff by ear? What does that look like for you? Bring us into that world and walk us through a day in the life of Tony.
Okay, so really, when you do a week of that show, like the contestants or their coaches or the producers, and by the time that I did it, they picked the songs that they were going to do. And that was like maybe Thursday. And then Friday, we would record them with the producers. So we would come on in there and record, or other people were recording it too. And then Sunday, we would rehearse them live. And then we would rehearse them with some tracks that we would have, but we were playing live as well. And then Monday, I want to say that we practiced, we were on stage setting up. It went that fast. A week goes that fast and it goes a blur. So then you have a dress rehearsal. And then the next day is, no, the first Monday is blocking. Tuesday is the dress rehearsal. And then later that evening are the two performances. And yes, man, at the last second, hey, man, play this, and you have to be ready, or I have to be ready to step out and play with the performers if the producers say, hey, we want a guitar player playing with this person, or we want this. And that happened many times. There was times where it's like I had maybe like a 12-hour window that I had to memorize 3 or 4 songs, or I didn't even know I was going to be on stage until 12 hours before, or maybe 6 hours before. I mean, it could happen that fast. So you have to be just ready for anything. You really does. And I'm going to tell you something. I'll tell you a story. So we had a rock and roll week, right? And there was a certain star that was asked to do it, but he couldn't do it. He wasn't able to do it. And then Ray Chu, the conductor, great cat, man. He's from New York. Awesome dude. He previously did Showtime at the Apollo, but then he came out and he got the American Idol gig, and then I was able to get into that band. But anyway, he was writing down people. Okay, who are we going to get? We're going to get Prince. We're going to get Carlos Santana. We're going to get this person. Or we're going to get... I'm like, oh my gosh, we're going to be able to meet these people. So then Monday rolls around, and then there was another certain person that was picked, and then he couldn't do it. So they were at, like, there was nobody left. So they looked into the pit and we're just going to take your guy right there. And that was me. So it's, even though that I did many step outs, I was like, I did a step out on like I had a segment like every show. I had a separate room where I had to do different costume changes, just like a Broadway show. And and after the show happened, I was like, man, that is not going to, I thought it was a fluke. It was not going to happen again, but it was great. I got some great shots, stuff. But it was a wonderful experience, but that you wouldn't know it's going to happen until it happens. I didn't know it was going to happen until the day of. So you just have to be ready to improvise and to be on call. That's how we do. We are improvisers. Musicians do that. Okay, I can't improvise my water bill. I can't improvise my rent, but we like to think we're in this kind of mode. But anyway, that's a day in the life of one of those shows. And that happens with any of them. It happens with The Voice, or if the producers, if they want this, they want that, if TV it happens like that, they're going to make that thing work. They're going to make it work to their benefit. Something that thought it worked like last hour, it doesn't work this hour because of some blocking or this, or we need that. You got to be ready. Yeah.
I see your face light up with so much joy and just joie de vivre while you're telling us the story. What does the uncertainty and the play of these last minute changes, what does this mean to you, and how does that play into what makes you a strong musician?
I think because I'm a constant student, I like, hey man, I could do that. Or yeah, I can make this work. It's like, I try to go, if there's something in front of me, I'm just going to go after it and see if it works out. If it does, I haven't done that before. I'm going to do that. I never played with this artist before. I never played this song before. I never visited the city before. It's just like that. That's how we grow as people. Look, I moved to Los Angeles when I was 38 years old. Okay, and I had a wife, and she supported me. I can't thank her enough. My son was 4. Okay, and we moved across. Left the whole home. There's some people. That's a lot to take at that time. I was ready to go and ready to do that. If other people don't want to do that, that's fine. This was just me and my nature, and I wanted to learn and find out more, and I wanted to grow as a person and grow as a musician. I'm not saying staying in one city is not that. It's just how I felt about it. Hey man, if you want to stay in your hometown and do this and do that, there is nothing wrong with that. It's not. It was just me. I wanted to find out more, and I moved out to LA. I grew into this career, and I still am. Look, man, I just feel like I just got here, but you just still keep growing, and that's what I want to do. And the other thing too, I was able to meet a lot of stars coming on up, and you're backing up the stars on these TV shows too. It's, hanging out with Steven Tyler, Randy Jackson, Stevie Wonder. I mean, it was a great experience. You just got a plethora of people coming on through, and it's just, you're all, it's not the whole thing. It's like, yeah, they're this, but it's like, we're all in this working together. We're as a whole. So then the whole star thing just goes away, and it's, let's make this thing work. Stop doing that. Stop like, oh my God, it's Stevie. No, you got a job to do it. And that made it nice. Here, I can buckle down. I can make this thing work. Yeah, I'm doing this. And that continues out through the things out here. I may be called to do this or may be called to do that, backing up people. I was Natalie Cole's guitar player for 4 years, up to her death. And she took me all around the world. She gave me my first road experience with all that stuff. So it gave me a lot of experience that way. And these days, I'm playing a lot in the smooth jazz industry with people like Dave Koz. Have you heard of Dave Koz before? Yeah,
for sure.
Great cat, and just been on his cruises and started to play on their records, Rick Braun's records, or Richard Elliott. And these people are super people. They're more supportive. And I'm glad that I'm hanging out with people that are supporting each other. It doesn't matter what kind of music you like or play, but if you have good people you're working with, that's the most important. That's the most important to me. You like these people you're working with, because you could be doing something you don't want to do. Here we are. We're all playing. We're all having a good time. You could be not having fun playing or not having fun doing this particular job. So I consider myself a lucky guy. Yeah.
I notice you like saying yes, not just with the word yes, but with your body, with your actions. What is the power of yes, Tony?
I want to say the answer is always yes. Hey, Tony, you want to do this, or you want to try that? Hey, don't wait. Don't wait. The answer is always going to be yes. That's supportive. That's positive. That brings people together. That's how I see it. Of course, if I can't do the gig, I can't do the gig. If I'm booked or something like that. But it's, hey, you want to do this? You want to do that? Yeah, let's do it. That's how I see it. Like that.
And within saying yes, how important is it to first have the fundamentals on lock that allow you to say yes?
I think no fear. I think after, what? I'm lucky to be still alive. I'm telling you, man, there's so many things. The Lord has blessed me, but I'm not going to be afraid of this stuff anymore. It's after coming out in the unknown, and Look, when I was in Cleveland, I was a working musician for 15 years in Cleveland, Ohio. And like I said, I taught 35 students a week. I played in casual bands on the weekends, and church services. Had no road experience, didn't do anything like that. In the Midwest B markets, that's how musicians can make a living. And when I was like, man, I want to do more, I want to do it. So I'm like, okay, I started going out to the NAMM shows, and I started just meeting people, trying to just build my contacts. And you get an incredible amount of energy just meeting everybody. It's like looking at the instrument, looking at this, like that. And I came out with a couple friends, and I did that for several years. We would come home, we'd be pumped. We would be like, oh yeah, man, we got it. But then that energy would last like maybe just a few weeks, and then you're back to the old. So it's like I had to keep on doing this. There's an unknown out here. I need to keep expanding. So, just it got to the point where people started coming into LA and they were requesting to work with me. And that helped me out a little. And there was more and more people that I learned. But when I moved out to LA, not that they were going to save my behind, it was just one more person that I knew. I had the contacts, I met some companies, I knew this, I had some money saved up. But so it was like the unknown. I'm going to say yes. Of course, I'm going to have to do that. And what happened was the house that I was living in for 3.5 years, and like I said, my child was 4 at the time, it was right during the recession, 2008, 2009. And the landlords I was renting this house from, I had a studio, I had Fender Rhodes here, I had all that stuff. They wanted to sell the house to me. The house the house on this block here, it was they wanted to sell it to me for an incredible higher amount of money than what the other houses were going for on that place. So we said no, and they said, you're not going to buy the house, right? And they said, you have to be out in 60 days. And because they wanted to do that. And I'm like, wow. So my wife and I said, you know what? Instead of just moving someplace else in Cleveland, it's time to go. Let's move it on out. We're going to go to LA. And I think I want to say that God gave me a gift that it's like, okay, this is it. If you're not going to go, this is it. This is it. So I felt like the universe was in tune with me at that time. And it was definitely God wanted me to move out. And, of course I could. But it was obvious. It was so obvious that I had to go. So that really gave me the push. It's like, yeah, I'm going to do this. So the answer is yes, we're going to do it.
But isn't there something to be said, though, that you were looking for growth? You had a higher energy potential and a higher energy desire than what you were in at that time. And you were looking to insert that higher level of energy, that higher level of yes into an arena that would accept that higher level of yes and allow you to expand your yes out. Is that not the case?
You know what? I exhausted everything that I could do in Cleveland. I was the pit guy for several years. Like I said, I played every house. I had played every musical that came through. We played with artists that came on through. And then we would have our gigs and you're teaching things. And then I had my studio and I was producing people and I was recording my stuff. But I just felt like that I was building a mountain like in the wrong place. I needed to be in one of the music centers, where it'd be New York, LA, Nashville. So it's just all that. I knew that there was more, and I want to say this, my work ethic comes from the Midwest, and I love the people in Cleveland, Ohio. I love the people in Northeast Ohio for what they gave me and the character to instill in me to go on into the future. But I knew that there was things. There was just things I didn't know. I didn't know the live TV stuff that I was just talking to you about. I didn't know how to tour. I didn't know how to pack my bags and get on this. I didn't know how to do that. I knew that I had to, but what I had to do is I had to meet people. I needed to be in the center. And if I just do the same thing I did in this area, I would do in the other one. Because there's two things that helps you out as a musician: recommendation and reputation. So like I said, learning to listen, doing these things. I kept a good rep. People were calling me in Cleveland. So I was like I could just be doing it all someplace else or anywhere. Maybe I've had enough of this. Maybe someday I'll move somewhere else. But I'm going to take the same life lessons and I'm going to apply it to that life. Apply it to whatever walk of life you do. Yeah.
You've brought so much wisdom and so many actionable lessons for anyone in doing anything in music so far, from the yes to the saying yes to the living the yes, to just being willing to experience the expansion of yourself into the unknown. What other high-level music lessons did we not touch on here that you feel like no matter what anyone's doing in music, they should know?
I can't. Of course, you have to have chops. As far as you have to be able to read. And what line of things that I'm doing, you need to know how to read, how to play these styles, how to back up people. But you just got to be like I said, you got to be a good person. Like the hottest player doesn't necessarily get the job. Are they going to show up on time? Do they have a bad reputation? Are they hard to work with? I don't want that. I know this gig that I'm going to do in a couple weeks, I booked it back in January because I knew these guys were going to be there. I've been all over the world with these guys, and I didn't think anything of it. But I know they're going to be there. You can't do that. If you're going to say you're going to do something, you got to do it. You got to, be responsible. If the phone rings, pick it up. Let that person know that you can't do this or can do that job because they're waiting. They're waiting for the answer so they can move on to, if you can't do it, then do something else. Don't wait 2 days. People do that. You won't believe some of the things that have happened. But the music business is small. It really is. We think it's like this big thing. It's incredibly small. But you have to be able to trust the people that you're working with. You're trying to put this thing, and sure, you're thinking about yourself right now. You're thinking about the people you work with. You're thinking about the plans that you want to do in your company and your stuff like that. You have to trust these people. Same thing. My advice to the young people coming on up, if you got to be committed. You got to be committed. Tell these people you're going to do this. They're not stupid. They're not messing around. And that's it. And you just be there. Listen. Do what is expected of you. And then if that gig went good, and say, hey, Dan, you want to do this now? Because they know that you are a personal person. You can work with them. You gave them what they needed. And that's how you build a business. That's how you build a career.
Tony, what do you have coming up?
Well, the July the 4th, I'm releasing this song. And it was written a long time ago, but it's like what we're talking about right now. It's about one person's fight to stay committed to his career. And the song is called Something I Should Share. And it's with acoustic guitar, percussion, and voice. And I overdubbed a lot of, I think you heard a little bit in the trailer. I overdubbed a lot of guitars and just there's a lot of stuff going on with just guitar. And then I added some cajon and some percussion to it. And then on the 15th, I have a gig in Seal Beach, California. And that's at a restaurant called Spaghettini's. And it's a place where many smooth jazz artists play and where I've been playing, backing up people. And they gave me a gig to do. I was like, wow, this is great. So I said, I want to do this. I want to sing. I want to play. I want to do a little bit of this. And they said, Tony, we love it. It's great. I just want to make sure that they knew what they were going to get. We're going to do that. And the guys that I've been working with, great people. Daryl Williams, bass player, awesome. Great. He's got some records out there on the smooth jazz charts. Carnell Harrell, wonderful keyboard player, and the great Tony Moore on drums. So we're going to have a good time. That's going to be on Monday, July the 15th at 6:30 p.m. And it's going to be cool. Yeah, I'm going to play this original, and also Peter White's going to be playing too. He's going to come in and sit on a couple things. Great nylon string guitar player. He it's been great. We hit it off. Sometimes on the Dave Koz cruise, we do like duets. It comes off really cool. And then, like I said, we're going to do some of my originals, instrumentals that I had done throughout the years, and also covers that I like to do. Going to do a little Peter Frampton. Going to do a little Steely Dan. Going to do a little Sting. But also sprinkling in some of my original stuff. And this is what I want to do. Make these people happy. That's what they like. That they love that. They just, it's so supportive, just a supportive place. And the owners are great. Carrie and Lori, they're just great supportive people. And I have a really good feeling about all this. It's great. Yeah.
Beautiful. And if people want to follow your journey and check out more and attend these gigs and also support the new single that's dropping on July 4th, check out TonyPGuitar.com. Tony, thank you so very much for taking time out of your busy schedule to come hang with us.
Thank you, bro. Man, thank you so much. Yeah, we'll do it again sometime. I had a great time.